Okay. 6:45. Let's keep it with the doctors and go over to Dr. Tom Shieh. Good morning, Dr. Shieh.
Morning, Chris.
Half a day.
So first, we're gonna get Catherine from the chamber on, but I just wanted to first kind of start with you and this. There's a message going around on WhatsApp. We've been able to confirm that it is part of a plan that the chamber was planning to give over to the governor's office about reopening. Can we just kind of get your thoughts on that first?
Well, I just read what I think KUN reported it,
Yeah.
but I don't know what the full detail is. But if chamber, if they want to work with the Guam Medical Association, would be more than happy to take a look at their plan.
Yeah, let me, Doc. Actually, let me just go back and let me read this out for you people who are just joining us. This is we've confirmed that this is a plan from the Chamber of Commerce, and their idea to give over to the governor about reopening the island in phases. And you probably got it on your WhatsApp. Going into the next week, the Chamber's plan calls for other service and retail businesses to open using social distancing and sanitation protocols. Appointments would be needed for barbers, salons, gyms, realtors, shopping centers. Additionally, malls and shopping centers would have to limit the number of people, a concept that retailers such as Home Depot and Payless have adopted. The week of May 4th is when the first big phase would start, assuming the rate of infections remains low. Currently, it's about 13 to 14%, according to the governor. Phase 1, allow all private sector businesses and government offices to open while abiding by social distancing and sanitation protocols. Bars and restaurants remain closed for sit-down service. Phase 2, the week of May 25th, allow for all parks, restaurants, and other places for gathering to open while adhering to sanitation and social distancing protocols. Phase 3, the week of June 22, all public places and private businesses would resume normal operations with the same sanitation protocols and limited social distancing. All bars and restaurants will be allowed to open, and larger gathering which adhere to CDC guidelines would be permitted. The government should also prepare to start body temperature scanning, pre-boarding health surveys, and foot pass sterilization pads for incoming arrivals at the A.B. Wampat International Airport. So your thoughts, Dr. Shieh?
Okay, well, let's start with the last one.
Yeah.
Let's work the bottom up. The last one, where they plan to open the airports, I suppose they're trying to get ready for tourists. Well, that's got to go away. First of all, I think the testing should be done also. If they want to test pre-boarding, I think that's good. That's okay. Screen them pre-board from the destination to Guam. But upon arrival, I think we still need to really watch the quarantine aspect of it and visit the areas where they're coming in from if there's any active infections. I think they should test them there. I think the chamber has the right path. I think we're going to have to reopen someday somehow. And I think we'll work with the chamber if they want to get our doctors involved. But the community doctors, I'm not talking about government doctors or those people who's on the advisory board, because I think they may not be seeing eye to eye. But I think the community doctors, we like to see the community also start learning to live a life that's not the same anymore. And I think the chamber has put in some thoughts there in different phases, but the phases are coming from the Trump administration, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3.
Right, yeah.
There is no line in the sand, okay? There is no phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. This is a process where you're going to say that you're going to have to intermingle every single phase here, because you go from phase 1, phase 2, you're going to go back to phase 1, and from phase 3, you're going to go back to phase 1. I don't like to use phases. What I like to do is try to integrate some form of normalcy that's not going to be back to what we used to live our life as, okay? We're going to have to learn how to live a life with social distancing for a while, and how to clean our hands properly. Sanitizer is not around everybody's hands, so we're going to have to, the business is going to have to somehow provide those for customers, and especially for the employees.
Right.
Because ultimately, if they want to open their businesses, okay, the responsibility to protect the employer and the employees is upon the employer, the person who's opening that business. If I were to go into a restaurant, if I were to go pick up something and I get sick, and it's because of contamination from a place that I went to, the responsibility falls on the owner of that establishment. So they need to be very careful with that. But certainly, I think, I think the chamber is on the right path. I think we're going to have to reopen somehow, some way. And I think the normalcy in the past is going to have to be put aside. And how do we live normally for this coming summer? And I think the governor's aspect of it about opening, or I don't know what her plan is, basically, but going back to their canvassing, I need to comment on that.
Yeah. And you're talking about the canvassing that's going on right now in Stumbo.
Yeah, that's kind of I don't want to say stupid because I don't think it's stupid, but I think it's kind of taking one step back and saying, hey, if you're going to go out canvassing, you already know that person who's symptomatic, who's living in that home that needs to be swabbed or tested. Why give them a coupon to come out and to be tested? You know where they live. And you already have nurses who go in there, swab them at your house. Don't tell them, hey, come on out, or let me come out to public and let me test you then, give you a coupon. I mean, that's so stupid. Oh, there I said it, sorry. But, you know, the point is this, okay? They're already doing the canvassing. They're already doing the work. They already identify which houses, where they are. Don't give them a coupon and say, hey, come on out. You think they're just going to come out and just go test and go straight home? What makes you think they're not going to stop at Payless or stop at Home Depot or any of the other establishments to pick up something for themselves? And who's going to drive them out? That's the other thing, too.
I mean, you make a good point, Doug. You're basically saying, hey, we're already going into these houses. We're talking to these people. Why not just swab them there? You know, I mean, instead of doubling back and doubling in.
Yes. Use some common sense, for God's sakes. You know, you already know where they're going. I mean, where they are. Leave them there. Don't tell them to come back out, especially if they're under the weather. You know what I'm saying? And if you know they're very, very sick, why are you still living in? If you think they're going to be admitted, then take them out. Call the ambulance and take them out right there. And quarantine the entire household. Don't wait giving out coupons to have them coming out where you know exactly where they are. That doesn't make sense to me.
You know, another thing.
That was the first time actually I heard about it, and when I read that release, I was like, I didn't know they were giving passes.
Yeah, so we were kind of told, hey, everybody come out, everybody get tested, and then that's what we've been saying because that's what we were told to say by the government, and now, I mean, not told like they said, hey, say this, but that was what they said. We're going to test everybody. We want to test. I mean, are we just going to let it slide that the governor had come out in a press conference earlier this week? I think it might have been that we're going to test 258 people a day, and it's already Friday, and we're still testing 37 people. So,
yeah, well, you know, I already put it out there that I think the three places you should be testing, and that's very, very important. The airport, you got to test the people who's arriving, test the workers at the airport, test GRMC, the healthcare workers, because the healthcare workers need to mingle with the community and also over at GMH. And the GMH need to also be tested as well. Those three facilities, airport, hospital, GRMC, and GMH. Those are the targeted areas I think they should focus on first as a priority. And then if they want to go out canvassing, canvass, but you identify the people who's already there, but don't give them a coupon to come out and get tested. Test them already. Stay home.
Well, good idea. And I think, maybe they just don't have that outside set of eyes to say, hey, why don't we just do this way?
I think they do. I just don't know. I think they're just winging it, in my opinion. Like, okay, what should we do? What should we do? Okay, let's try this. Let's do this. I'm getting so frustrated.
Let's test everybody. Okay, no, let's not test everybody. Let's just only test people with symptoms.
But, if you want to call everybody out to one place, that's fine. But when you start going out canvassing, that's another good idea. But it's a bad idea to say, hey, you know what? You're kind of sick. Here's a coupon. Come on out. And then let me test you at this center. My goodness, stay home. If you're sick, we'll come to you and we'll test you there. And I hope they're listening to your show and hopefully take my advice.
Well, it's kind of late in the game. Right now, they're like, damn it, who didn't think of that? What?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. But the chamber, I think the chamber, first, I think the GVB and GHRA has learned their lesson as far as advertising goes. And I hope they don't go out advertising and say, hey, we only have 2 cases of corona free, or 2 cases of corona here, and come out to Guam. I think they learned their lesson. I think we cannot have tourism coming in. I think residents of Guam, they got to return here. I can understand that. But I think rather than strict quarantining them upon arrival, I think test them first and see what's going on.
Right.
Test them again in 5-6 days and follow them and see what's happening. Not just screening from the destination to Guam. I think you got to test them upon arrival. And I think the hotels, the plans for the hotels, believe me, I'm one of the biggest supporters of Guam hotels and restaurants, okay? I eat out every day, but now I'm eating at home alone, I'm cooking, and I think I'm coming on my own set of menu, I think.
Yeah,
but,
not bad. Looks pretty good, Doc.
Yeah, I'll cook for you one day, we'll do it.
One day from 6 feet away.
Yeah, but I think the hotels, to reopen hotels, I think we've contained this virus enough within the community. The second wave, if anything, well, God forbid that the second wave is going to come man-made, that they're calling people out after this canvassing, but it's going to be coming from the airport. The airport's going to be that second wave that's coming through, in my opinion. And it's no-brainer to say, hey, the September and October we're going to have a surge. Think about it. That's the flu season. You don't need a model to tell us that. Okay, that's common sense again. So again, the Guam Hotel, I think what they need to do is start thinking about how to get back into business by taking care of the locals. Okay, and the chamber says all restaurants, eateries, eating inside is going to be out of question. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think there's a way around that. I think you can still open a restaurant, but with a caveat that if you have a capacity of 100, perhaps you can't open for 100 people. You can take reservations and you split them apart and then go ahead and set it up so that the capacity from 100 maybe down to 20 or maybe even 10. Start with 10 and then go from there. And then we're going to have to live a life that's totally different.
Yeah, I know. I'm already thinking, Doc, I'm just going to keep rocking this mask after all this. You know what I mean? And you're right.
Listen, the mask's going to have to be on.
Right.
The social distance is going to have to carry through the entire summer, maybe through the fall. But maybe the mask is going to have to be on no matter what. But, I think what I'm trying to say is that the hotel restaurant says the restaurant's closed. But I don't know. I think they can work around it and learn how to live a life that's going to be around this virus. But the key here is airport. The second wave is going to come in from the airport. You got to protect that airport. It's very important. And I said that back in February. I told him the airport, that's the gate. You got to watch that. But just send the advertisement out into Korea, I guess. But I don't know.
Has the Guam Medical Association come together, whether it's a Zoom conference, and maybe have their own set of recommendations?
We try to get into the physicians advisory group, and even this morning I said, hey, listen, you're going to meet up with Homeland Security or FEMA. Why don't we have all our doctors Zoom in? We can have a Zoom. We're participating with Zoom conferencing over 300 people. Why can't we just Zoom in and have all of us listen in what's going on? They refused. They said, oh, no, just sit at the question.
They only want the nice doctors, Dr. Todd. They only want the nice doctors. You don't want to be on that physician's advisory group anyway, because you gotta watch what you say. If you say the wrong thing, they get in trouble. They're gonna make you stand in the corner. The governor's gonna get mad at you.
Especially Dr. Tom Shieh. We definitely don't want him in the room.
You're gonna spend the whole day in the corner.
No, but nothing's stopping the GMA from coming up with their own, like the chamber, their own, because a lot of the chamber aren't on the economic, recovery panel.
Of course, but I think, but we'll work with the chamber. If the chamber comes to us, we'll work with them. And I think they're going to have to work with the doctors, and then they have to choose who they want to work with. Certainly, if they want to choose to work with the advisory board, go ahead. That's okay. But, as far as we are concerned, I think I'm concerned is that we want to continue to protect the island. And I'm just telling you, from a common sense standpoint, I don't look at models. I don't look at projections. They don't apply to Guam. We're flat. Guam is a flat island with 160 population, and they're comparing it to New York City, to Singapore, to Korea. Those are millions of people. I mean, I think we've contained this virus enough here locally, and I've been watching the hospital curve. I go to the hospital every day. I walk that hallways every day. And you don't think I'm scared? Of course I am. But I feel comfortable to say that I think we contained this virus locally. The social distancing is great. I think we've done that. And you know what? Now they're saying, hey, don't stay home and come on out and get tested. Are we going to start changing our PSAs? I know KUM was involved with our PSAs and running some ads. I hope we don't have to go back out and say, hey,
we do.
Stay home now.
Now the message is go get tested, get tested, get tested.
Oh, you're sick, come on out. Go see your doctor. Don't do that. If you have a cold, common cold or anything like that, just stay home, call your doctor, do a telemedicine conference with your doctor, continue to do that, continue to stay home. We're starving this virus. I think there's a Chinese saying also is that, if what's evil? Don't go looking for evil. Leave it be. Let this virus die. Don't go waking up this virus. The virus is already dying. Don't go knocking on the doors and waking them up. So
you don't agree with this next phase of testing where you cast this wider net to determine the prevalence of COVID on Guam?
Well, not necessarily. I don't agree. I think testing is okay. They can test, but test the airport, the hospital. Okay. Those are the critical areas that you have to protect.
Right.
Going out canvassing. Okay, let's say you test this area in Stumbo. Okay, that's only one single area that you're testing. I know this is a pilot project, but canvassing, good. Then go to the doors and test them there. Don't give them a coupon and come back out. If you're sick, stay home. We'll come to you. Those are common sense things, the strategies you have to apply.
Yeah, Doc, and even the messaging of the last couple of days, we spoke with, and obviously, one of the groups that I think they're trying to target, at least ethnically, is people from the FSM and multi-generational families. So we had got Johnny from the FSM consulate office, and he had told us, he said, man, I wish they would have reached out to us and we could have done like a whole outreach into the community and, done some translation and put out some flyers.
Sure, there you go.
So
work with the communities.
Right.
If you're going to target FSM, if you're going to start talking about nationalities and stuff, they work with those people who's in charge of those groups. And, don't want them to come out. We'll come to you. And then we'll set it up in a group, just like bone marrow drive. We'll come to you, we'll set it up.
But you see what's changed in the last couple of days is when they first announced this, they were like, we want to test a lot of people. We want to test everyone. Come out. And now it's like, oh, no, we're going to give you a coupon. You got to do this. So already, people are being told by the administration that they want to cast a wider net. They want to test everybody. And then, it's almost like the criteria is still narrow. So.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if they start canvassing, they already know, hey, we got the manpower to go canvassing. If you got the manpower to go canvassing, then you got the manpower to go and test them at their door.
You're right. If they're going to go into someone's house and be like, hey, do you feel sick? Hey, do you this? Come here Saturday. They might as well be like, hey, do you feel sick? Okay, you want to get swabbed right here? All right, you're cool. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, and I think they said that without the coupon, you won't get tested, right?
Yeah, that's what it kind of sounds like. Well, we're gonna get Linda on the phone here in about 15 minutes, so we'll ask her. Thank you, Dr. Shieh.
Yeah, give my suggestion to Linda, would you? I'm trying to be constructive.
Hey, I want to be good with Linda.
Oh yeah, of course.
Send her the link.
Yeah.
I know Linda since the day I arrived on Guam.
Right.
Okay. I was working at public health, at Southern Public Health. I've seen all the pregnant moms down at Southern Public Health, and you can ask Linda that. She was the first person I met at public health, and she asked me to come on down to southern side. And I did that for, I think, 2 or 3 years straight while I was in the Navy. So I know the public health system pretty well. And she's done a good job with the public health system. And I applaud her for it. She's in a difficult position. But allow us to give input and help her out. That's what I say.
Right on. Okay, Doc, thank you.
Take care.
Wash your hands.
Bye.
Dr. Tom Shieh, 702. Good morning. We got to take a break, Bree. Okay, because I know it's about bathroom o'clock. It's 702. We're KUAM FM Agani Guam. It's the KUAM News Takeover of Guam's favorite containing COVID. Good